21st, 2021. I'm here with Sherry Smith for the BE collection. So welcome. Thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I feel like I already know you. We've had good conversations, which is great. So as I mentioned when we spoke before, we just go through a series of simple questions.
Sure.
And the first one is, where were you born?
I was born in San Antonio, Texas.
Uh-huh.
And I was adopted when I was 6 weeks old.
Because
if you can believe it, I was under 5 pounds. And so I couldn't be adopted, for a while. So then my adoptive parents lived in Harlingen because my father was a cotton farmer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I grew up in Harlingen, which is down by Brownsville and all that, and South Padre Island. It's about 40 minutes from South Padre.
Did you, was your adoption arranged, or how did that happen?
My adopted mother had already adopted my brother. Huh. And so they the home contacted them since they were so pleased with my brother. He's almost 3 years older than me. And so they drove up and took him, and according to this letter that my adopted mother sent to the lady. See, in those days, the people from the adoption agency would visit the home and see how things were progressing. So they wrote letters and all that. So in the letter, my mother made a copy of it. And so I found it one day, and she's the lady from the agency had asked, well, how is Sherry Ann doing? And she said, all the way home in the back seat, Forrest Jr., that's my brother, just pampered on, watched me, and was very concerned about my having a good trip. Our birth mother told Natalie and Jackie about me when they were older, and Natalie said not a day went by that mom, she said, did not say, oh, I wish she would just come knocking on the door. I love my birth mother for loving me. And because all of my life, I would just imagine, I just wanted to at least just go where she lived and just see her across the street, just to see what she looked like. And Natalie said that all of my hand gestures and everything are just like her, and said that my hands remind me of her hands. And she was full of fun, loved to dance and loved music. And see, I was in a community theater as an adult. I was in 26 plays, musicals, and comedy. I was Weezer in the Steel Magnolias. I was Mama Rose in Gypsy, and I was Golda in Fiddler on the Roof, and it just goes on.
You have a little Oscar coming.
So anyway, so when I brought my reviews and pictures from telling about each play, Natalie said, Mom would have loved this. She would have been so proud. This would be right up her alley. So
are your adoptive parents still living?
No.
No.
My father died of lung cancer. He'd never been ill a day in his life.
Wow.
And he died a month before I graduated high school at the age of 56.
And how about your adopted mother?
My adopted mother, died in July of 2000.
So was she aware of your visit to the birth mother's family?
No, she was dead because this
I
was
see. Right.
I met Natalie 2 summers ago.
So recently.
Uh-huh.
Right. So that's really an interesting story.
It is. It is.
Right. So before we really get into more questions, what careers would you say you've been involved in?
There was this guy that wanted to marry me, so I did that.
Got married?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And moved back to Harlingen, and he turned out to be an alcoholic. And when I was 5 months pregnant with my oldest son, David, he beat me. Then called my mother, and I told her what was going on. And so she helped me get a moving van. So then I hid out in this small motel between Harlingen and yes, and which I always wanted children. I had a name for my son is David Christopher, which I did name him that. And I mean, when he was 10 days old, we got a divorce.
Good.
So, you know.
And did you have any connection with your husband, ex-husband, after that?
Oh no.
So at that time, were you still working when you had your baby?
No, I hadn't started to work.
I see.
He died after my, let's see, several years. It was like at least 10 years after my son died.
So David's dead?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
When he was 17.
How did that happen?
It was suicide.
Oh goodness.
He looked like me and was very handsome, and he loved. We were very close. I was very close to both of my sons, David and Paul. Now Paul lives in Abilene, Texas, and he's 51, and is a licensed professional counselor, and his wife is a kinder teacher, has been for 30 years. This stuff. But my son, when he was like 11, came to me just fraught, and he said, "Oh, Mama, I have something to tell you, and I'm afraid to." I said, "Well, honey, tell me. You know, you can tell me." So, and I thought maybe he had gotten some drugs or something like that, and he said, I know I'm gay," and I said, first thing I said was, "Thank God." You were going to tell me that you were on drugs, because see, my brother was also gay. And so, but I hadn't come out till I was
aware.
But I knew
preference prior to that.
Yes.
How old were you when that became known?
50. When I reached 50, I decided that the next 50 years are going to be for me, because the first 50 I had done what everybody said I should do. Right, get married and should be. I was in cotillion. I married 3 times.
Did you?
But I finally got it right.
More of that. So, did you know you were a lesbian prior to being 50?
Pardon me?
Prior to being 50, were you aware you were a lesbian?
Yes.
Okay. How old were you
When I was about 12, there was this she was like 10 years older than me, and she was in college or something, and I knew the family, and she was the most gorgeous, I just had a big crush on her. And when I was like 10, 11, and 12, I went to an all-girls camp in the hill country in Texas. So I started going to this technical college, which was out by the airport in Harlingen, and for the surgical tech program, and I loved it. And it was a 1-year course, very, very intense. And I mean, like the chaff is separated from the wheat early on, And so
do those programs exist today?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Like if somebody's listening to this and she said, well, that sounds like something.
Oh, yes. I went to Texas State Technical College after we trained in our big lab and everything. We started going and being supervised during surgery. We would scrub in, but we would meet about 6:30 in the cafeteria of the hospital, and we were assigned our case.
What was the first
night before?
Oh, so what was your first case that you scrubbed on?
Inguinal hernia. And I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it, and I was scrubbed in, but I loved it so much that I just leaned in. I watched every single thing, and I would pass clamps and things. And then I went down for lunch and had cabbage with tomato sauce on it. So see, it didn't bother me at all.
No. You were hungry after all that work. Good. So then you just kept learning, and
I graduated top of the class.
What made you choose that career?
Well, I'd always wanted to be in the medical field. But I never went into nursing because I was always horrible in math and chemistry. They assigned me to start on the neuro team, which I did. And that was very complex and everything, but I loved it.
And did you? What other specialties did you go into besides neuro?
That's it.
Neuro was your thing. Right. When did you begin teaching yourself?
About 2 years later, my the head of the department out at the college, we had become friends, and Sarah Alvarez, and she called me and said that one of her staff has left, and that she was interested to know if I would like to come and work in the surgical tech department, being the lab assistant, which would, I taught all the instrumentation, gowning and gloving, the correct hand scrub. All these shows on TV, they just drive me crazy because they'll be scrubbing and then come back to the and I just, I know. So then I taught that for about 5 years.
And then when did you start having relationships with women?
Let's see.
Lesbian relationships.
Yeah.
Right.
About 25 years ago.
And then were you working?
when I was 50.
So when
And
you were working, did you set different goals for yourself? Like, next I want to be an instructor, and then after that I want to do.
yes,
Do you advise people to set career goals?
yes,
Good.
always.
Yeah. What was
Because
your favorite thing that you did in your career as a surgical tech?
I just loved it all. Yeah, I said that.
So how do you think the role of women in your profession has expanded over the years?
Oh, yes.
Uh,
Oh, gosh. Yes.
It's interesting because it's so vital and it's been around a long time, but I don't think a lot of people know about it. So I think that you're talking about it will open eyes
Yes.
for people.
Well, it's a wonderful thing to do. And
Correct. Was there one person that when you look back on your career or your life that really made the great impact on you?
Sarah Alvarez,
Okay, you
the
mentioned
head
her
of
before.
she was a lovely woman.
So were you able to be open with your sexuality at that time of your life?
I wouldn't know. I hadn't yet, but I was aware, of it. I had decided to just that it would be a bold move, but that I would get a divorce and somehow, get on my own, and but I didn't know how to go about it. And I had made some friends, on the chat rooms, and nothing ominous or any. It was just friendly, informative.
How long have you been with Sherry? Your current relationship?
In November, it'll be 25 years.
All right, that's a big anniversary.
Yes.
Good, right. So you'll have to celebrate that.
Yes. And she's retired. She was an attorney with Homeland Security.
Yeah.
She had a crush on me. So
how nice. And she still
yeah.
does.
Yes. Oh,
years later, right.
And let me say that for the first, I have grown up, especially in my teen and adult years, with a facade. And even with each marriage, I just could not be myself. Right. Not about. I always was stiff about. I don't know, because I wasn't happy, But let me tell you, being with Sherry, we are true soulmates because I am completely myself. I've never been happier in my whole life.
Your whole face changes when you talk about her.
No,
no, really, it's wonderful.
It is true.
So, my final question is: if you knew you were going to die soon, what would you like people to remember about you? Sort of your legacy.
That I tried to be a kind person, and that I just love people.
When I think of our goal to record the past and inspire the future, you've done that. You're doing that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Came out of a really difficult past.
I did.
And you kept living it and moving through it. And now, with your current relationship and your pride in that, you're inspiring.
Well, thank you.